It is my pleasure to bring onto the program Representative Elise Stefanik from the great state of New York. And it is a pleasure to have you on the program today, ma'am. I'm very, very happy to have you here.
Brad, thanks for the opportunity.
Listen, this is a very emotional time, obviously. The nation is facing a perilous, future, potentially. Your thoughts on this day and on the debate last night. What are you feeling today?
So first of all, on 9/11, it is important that every American never forget. We have a responsibility to educate younger generations about the terrorist attack on 9/11 in New York and the plane that went down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and of course the plane that crashed into the Pentagon. Nearly 3,000 lives were lost on that day. I remember where I was. I was a high school senior in English class when that happened, and because I'm from New York originally, that's where I was born and raised in upstate New York, I had classmates whose family members not only worked in New York City, but in some cases worked in the World Trade Center. So this has touched so many lives, and we must never forget. It is also a reminder to every American that our national security policies are always front and center, and the freedom, our way of life every single day cannot be taken for granted. And that's one of the many reasons why this upcoming election is so incredibly important. And we saw that last night on the debate stage. President Trump talked about his effective policies with a secure border, and he held Kamala Harris accountable for her position as Joe Biden's open borders are, where there have been individuals on the terrorist watch list who have illegally crossed our borders. So this is about national security as well as other issues, and I'm happy to get into more conversation about the debate.
Yeah, absolutely. When we look at this debate last night, it seemed, and we understood what was going on with those moderators, no doubt about it, but I do believe that the core interests of the American people would be better served by President Trump than obviously Vice President Harris, who was suddenly now pretending that she hasn't been there for 3 years, which I find to be shocking. She has certainly co-signed on every possible initiative that the president of the United States right now has pushed. And, your thoughts on the change that's going to happen as a result of what we saw in this debate last night. She was very vague on certain issues.
Well, first of all, you're right. It was a 3-on-1 debate. The fact that the moderators challenged President Trump, but that they gave Kamala Harris a free ride, it was Trump debating not only against Kamala Harris, but the two moderators who were not moderators or journalists at all. They were pro-Kamala Harris, pro-Democrat activists. That's how biased the mainstream media has become. But I think one of President Trump's strongest moments was when Kamala Harris was talking about her plan, and on day one, and he said, "You are the vice president right now. Mm-hmm. You have been there for nearly 4 years, and look at what's happening across this country." And not only does she own Joe Biden, she is one of the leaders, if not the leader, on each of the crises. So one, I talked about the border crisis. She was designated by Joe Biden to be his border czar. She owns that lock, stock, and barrel, and every district across the country is a border district. It's not just those states along the southern border with the fentanyl crisis, with the illegals being shipped to different parts of the country. Number two, the inflation crisis. Mm-hmm. Kamala Harris was the deciding vote as vice president in the U.S. Senate. She cast the deciding vote for the Inflation Expansion Act, which has led to trillions of dollars of reckless spending, Green New Scam priorities that have cost the American people, and historic inflation. And then look at the catastrophes and chaos around the world and our weakened national security. Kamala Harris was the last person in the room with Joe Biden when he made the decision for the catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan that led to 13 service members killed. And now we have 13 Gold Star families. So these elections matter. She presented no plan, just more of the socialist, Marxist proposals. And President Trump was right when he called her a Marxist on the debate stage. She was the most liberal senator when she was in the United States Senate. So voters, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, that's exactly spot on, because she was the person who is now trying to shepherd all of these efforts now, right? Going and meeting with Zelensky and being shown around the world that, she's the future. If that's the future, it's awfully bleak, Congresswoman.
Yes, it's very concerning, and I will tell you that she was obviously prepared for that debate, but you know what else was prepared? The headlines. Those were going to be written no matter what, and she had such a low bar to succeed that this was rigged against President Trump from the beginning. But if you look beyond the media and actually undecided and independent voters, President Trump actually won. In Reuters, 6 out of 10 said they leaned President Trump after the debate. These are undecideds. And then 3 out of 10 said they preferred Kamala Harris. Even the New York Times, interestingly, had a headline, and I don't like the New York Times at all, but their headline was, pundits say Kamala Harris won, undecided voters tell a different story.
Yep.
So again, the media had those headlines rewritten. I thought it was a strong debate by President Trump. I thought the moderators were not moderators, as I said.
Yeah.
And I think that it's not going to change the trajectory of the race. President Trump is on offense, and I believe he's going to win this election. We need him to save this country.
And where do people go to get more information and to follow what you're doing? Because no doubt you're going to have to hold the House as well against the radicals in the current administration there, and the Senate as well. This is going to be a whole of effort opportunity, right?
Yes, they can go to EliseStefanik.com. We are working hard. I'm proud to be the House Republican Conference Chair, and we work to flip the House, and we're going to pick up seats. North Carolina is going to be very important for us. Not only will we have new members due to redistricting, but we have an important race right in North Carolina 1. I'm supporting Lori Buckout to defeat Don Davis, and then North Carolina is a key state this presidential. We're excited that the RNC chair is from North Carolina, Michael Whatley, who has a great record, and we're working to make sure that, of course, President Trump wins North Carolina, but down ballot is so important. We need a Republican Senate, and we need more seats for Republicans in the House, because if Democrats win the House, they will impeach Trump on day one, and we cannot let that happen.
Great stuff. Listen, the door is always open here to you. We appreciate you making time for us in this busy time, and we wish you all the best in the effort, and look forward to catching up with you again. Thanks so much, Congresswoman.
Thanks, Brett.